All right, guys, welcome to the India-England segment. This is the fun bit now. We get some revenge. Um, we're back. There's lots of talk about
Honestly, I
pitches.
don't think we need revenge. I feel like we got our shots in at the West Indies even while celebrating them.
Oh, no, 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 no. I'm not talking about the West Indies. You're forgetting I'm living in England right now.
Ah,
I had nothing to do with talking about the West Indies. I had to get my shots in anyway. But now England, I'm going to take my little piece of this thing. First, let's start with the thing that every Englishman has moaned about at some point or the other this week. Was it really that bad a pitch?
The pitch. No, I don't think the pitch was that bad. I think it's very standard practice that when you have a really turning pitch in Asia, every white cricket country has to complain about it. And without having any thoughts about complaining about seaming pitches in England or whatever.
Yeah, but come on, mate. To be fair to the Aussies, the last time we produced something like this for them, they beat us.
Yeah,
Guess
that's
what?
true.
Guess what?
That pony pitch.
Guess what? I was there to watch that go down.
Yeah, I remember you were in Pune for that match.
Sorry, we were both there to watch that go down.
oh yes,
No,
we were.
Yeah, you guys were there.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys were there together.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was not a fun match.
No, but 1 minute. We're looking at it from a very Indian perspective. Let's get the neutral view on this. Do you really think it was that bad a pitch?
with see the little I saw, the fact from day two, a few balls hitting the pitch and the puff of dust that was there from day two, the morning of day two, seemed a bit excessive, right? Again, I cannot comment fully because I didn't watch a lot of it. I think the test match finished too quickly, to be honest. before I caught myself, the game was over and I didn't get to catch the highlights. But the fact that it was that drastic amount of dust popping up from day two, early on day two, you do have to cast in mind, maybe it is a bit, it was a bit too excessive, I guess, to some extent.
I mean, Ravi
I
Ashwin.
mean, I know you prepare the pitches depending on, your home conditions, and I agree with all of that. But was it too excessive? I'm not sure.
I mean, I've seen worse pitches in India than this one. This was not comparatively. I've seen worse ones. This was not as bad. That whole South Africa series in 2015 was terrible. Like that.
Those were bad pitches.
I'll be the first
Those
person to
we
say those
went
pitches
too
were
far
bad.
into home advantage for that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, anyway.
Though I feel like I was probably saying the same thing then as I am now, that I feel like every team just overdoes it on home advantage anyway. So why should
Yeah,
India be
I'm
different?
now gonna get. I was now gonna comment on the same thing. Up to when West Indies traveled to New Zealand at the end of last year, when you saw those pitches, it was full grass, right?
Yeah, but that's
You
New
can't
Zealand.
see
You
those
expect
pitches.
that. Those
You
are
can't-
they're not
that's-
pitches. That's the outfield. What's
You
the
literally
difference
can't
between
see the
pitch and
pitch.
outfield?
Exactly.
That's my point. That's my point. If you expect that in New Zealand or England, then you expect this in India. I feel like that's completely fair.
Yeah.
So I mean,
That's true.
they had no right to moan, and they got slated for it. So, hone do.
Yeah.
With that being said, it makes an interesting third test. Really looking forward for that.
Yeah, I have to say that third test is going to be really exciting because it's going to be day night as well. It's only the second day night test ever played in India. And the last time we finished the game in 2 days it was against Bangladesh.
This is Bangladesh. And if I remember correctly, all the wickets were taken by seamers in that game.
Yeah, but that was also Calcutta, which is the fastest pitch in the country. So
Where's the third test again?
Ahmedabad. The third and fourth tests are in Ahmedabad.
Yeah, Ahmedabad. Yeah, and is a crowd expected for that one?
Yeah. And the thing is, it's a new stadium, and they're going to have half. It's now a 100,000 capacity stadium, and they're going to have half, so 50,000 people in.
Yo, I'm just out of curiosity, how did they come up with the decision to have is it like full crowd? How did they come up with that?
No, it's 50%.
50%. Yeah.
50%, and protocol and everything, like mask and that sort of stuff, or
no? It's India.
They're supposed to be wearing masks, but and you would see some people wearing masks, but like
yeah.
I think
how did that decision? How did they come to that decision though? Like the first test was no crowd, then was it 5 days after you have a crowd? Like what?
No, so they were always going to have crowds for the third and fourth test. The thing with the Chennai leg was that they were not sure because Chennai had a large outbreak the week before. So they decided that the first week they were not going to have a crowd, and the second week, once the situation, which ended up improving a bit, they then decided that they would have a crowd.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah,
okay,
so that third test should be good. That third
yeah,
test
yeah,
should
no,
be
no,
good.
looking forward to it. Let's just look back at this test. First, obviously, Rohit Sharma's 161, and then he decides to do the most Rohit Sharma thing and get out. I mean, I watched him bat, made 161. I'm damn happy. And then the fucker decides to do the most Rohit Sharma thing ever, and he gets you angry again.
You got to out somehow, right? If that's
He-
his way, that's his way, man. What to do? At
I
least
mean,
he
he's
made
gotten
one.
161. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But
But you do he probably had a double century like on off for the way he was batting, and he kind of threw away a chance of that. But also,
yeah.
like that innings probably won the match.
So, I mean, okay, obviously there was Rohit Sharma, there was Ashwin's 100 and his 5 wickets in the first innings. And that ball to Ben Stokes where he just made him look like a complete mook.
Yeah. I got to add, there was also Pujara getting run out for what I believe is the 9th time in his career. Pujara getting run out again.
Yeah.
Pujara's had some shit luck, man, in this series.
That's true.
That was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the first match, he gets out by pulling a ball straight into the hip of short leg, and it pops up to mid wicket.
I know, right?
Yeah, that was some
Then
shit luck,
this run out. Yeah.
So there was that. Then there was Ashwin. Then bloody Akshar Patel. Where did he come from? 1 minute. First of all, let me just clarify. In the last test match, I was ready to throw my half-eaten vada pav at Shahbaz Nadeem. Here, my vada pav was finished, and I had another one without complaining.
Thanks to Akshar Patel.
I think Sid is gonna pick Akshar Patel for the first pick for Fantasy League coming up.
Oh yeah. Test match fantasy on spinning wickets. Yeah, sure.
Go ahead, no problem.
No, but so I mean, it was a much better looking side. Akshar played, and he was obviously has more control, bowls a bit quicker, looked better than. I mean, Nadeem was just completely ridiculous, and they had Kuldeep Yadav, who didn't do much to be fair, but he was in the team.
Yeah, I was really happy to see Kuldeep in the team. I think I mean, also let's be fair to Kuldeep. This is his first test since early 2019, that Sydney test in 2019. So he's playing after like over 2 years. He's playing Test cricket, and he did struggle, I thought, in the first innings, and it was good. Even though we all wanted to see Ashwin get that 10 for in the match by bowling in the second innings, I think it was good that Kuldeep got some overs in and got some wickets in. Definitely should have had Root before Siraj dropped an absolute sitter, but he's had some rhythm and it's good.
Okay, so now a couple of other things. Firstly, I mean, there was some the wicketkeepers union and a few commentators. I swear to God, they had some like orgasms on Twitter over Ben Fowkes. I could not understand it because Rishabh Pant kept just as well.
No, but in all fairness, Adam Gilchrist did say, kudos to Rishabh Pant also the day after. Like he did acknowledge that.
I think Rishabh Pant got his fair share of praise as well. So
and he was quite outstanding. And even today, with the stumping of what's it?
Dan Lawrence.
Dan Lawrence, sorry. Yeah, the one where Ashwin basically nutmegged him.
Yeah, and he's like that diving something. Pant had a great match behind the stumps, and those two stunning catches in the first innings. And I think everyone appreciated it. It's not. I think the thing with Ben Fowkes is obviously Ben Fowkes has this reputation of being a great pure wicket keeper, and people loved seeing it, especially because a lot of touring wicket keepers struggle in India, and he genuinely did a good job. I think I don't think there's any arguments. Yeah.
But I'm not saying that he didn't deserve praise, okay? But I've never seen a wicketkeeper praised that much in one game.
To be fair, I mean the Rohit Sharma stumping was a brilliant piece
that was a
keeping.
Completely genius piece of work.
Yeah.
There I agree with you. So there was that. That was that talking point, of course, with the keeping. This, of course, puts now the debate whether Saha or Pant should play is properly dead. After this test match, is properly dead.
At least for now.
Until the next big drop. And then he'll be like, come on, Ash.
Until Pant bats like 3 innings and gives it away quite easily, 3 innings in a row, then I think the debate will start back that he needs to,
Yeah, but
cool
see,
down a bit.
the thing is, he can hit a 50 in the fourth and Saha can't. Anyway, let's not go back into that.
I think Ian did that on purpose just to trigger you.
Yeah. I very nicely avoided it. But the big question was, of course,
Because
why didn't
that's
we pick
exactly
Dinesh
what's
Karthik?
gonna happen.
The big question, of
That's
course, is why didn't we pick Dinesh Karthik?
Dinesh Karthik would have been great on this pitch.
He would have been superb. Home ground also, yeah.
the man busy playing at DY Patel, dude.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. So okay. So there was that. There was Rohit Sharma's innings. Ashwin scoring 100 on his home ground. You can't write that script. And getting a 5-4 in the same game.
I'm just happy that Ashwin scored 100 against someone else other than the West Indies.
I was about to come to that. Ashwin loves batting against the West Indies, doesn't he?
Yeah. You don't have to remind me about that. 400s.
Yeah. 4 out of 500s against the West Indies.
Dude, you could just imagine the majority of those times we would have had you guys at least, like somewhat in a good, we would have been somewhat in a good position, and then Ashwin just comes in and hits 100.
Listen,
it's like, oh
minute.
my gosh.
If you think 350 for 5 is a good position for the West Indies, yeah, sure.
No, I'm sure he came in more difficult positions than that before.
No, I was actually at the ground the day he hit the first of his 400s against the West Indies.
Yeah.
But
where was that?
That was that ridiculous test match where the scores ended up level in Bombay.
Okay, yeah.
We were there for the second day of that. I remember going and watching that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Ashwin was just batted and, he batted and batted. So we knew he could bat, but the way he got to his 100 was just class. Top edging one over the keeper.
With that being said, let me ask you guys a quick thing. If you had to pick Jadeja versus Ashwin, who would you go with? Oh. In your 11, your prop 11, you play in a series away and abroad, like your number 1 11 for India. Who takes that spot? Because I know the debate would always be Jadeja a bit more with the bat than the ball, but Ashwin again has proven that he can make crucial runs. So who would you go with?
So I would
really
pick
clever from Ian. This is really clever from Ian to turn this around and make this an uncomfortable part of the pod. When honestly, SP and I should have just been celebrating for the next 10 minutes.
But I will tell you one thing. If I'm going on an all-round package, I'm picking Jadeja because he's a better fielder.
Yeah, he's also genuinely a better batsman. Ashwin's a good batsman, but Jadeja's better.
Yeah. And the thing is, the bowling, I mean, the bowling records are similar in terms of not the number of wickets, but the averages and things like that. And Jadeja does keep it really tight.
I have to disagree on that one. I think I agree that he might be a bit more solid with the bat and the fielding for sure. But I just think Ashwin is too good of an off spinner, and he takes that spot hands down as your number 1 spin in the team. If you're looking at it all wrong point perspective, but I think you guys India has too many good batsmen that you don't need that. Spinner is spinner, and I go hands down.
That's the other thing. Now the debate's almost done because neither of them are fighting for the same spot.
I would find if we play 5 bowlers, which we pretty much do by as a rule now, I get the feeling that we'll always pick both of them.
We'll pick both of them. And you can still play 3 pacers with having both of them in the team. That's the thing. That's the other thing. So they're not fighting over the same spot anymore. Just personal preferences here and there, of course, will always remain. Yeah. Anyway, but he's, by the way, last one more thing I want to add before I move on from Ashwin is he's not done trolling Australia. He's still going to, remember this, he's going to get to 400 test wickets before Nathan Lyon. So Rahane's jersey ka Parvati is still going.
when he entered the Australia series like 20 wickets behind or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine he's going to reach 400 before Lyon.
Now that I've thought about it, you guys have I like how it matches up. If we had to put the 11s on the paper, I like Ashwin, Rakeem Cornwall, Jadeja, Jomel Warkan / Versamy Permal. We actually
Veer Sami. Oh my god. That's another one who will get a half-eaten vada pav.
I think I just shot myself in the leg with that one.
Yeah. Versamy Permal could not spin a single ball. And Ian has decided to take a walk in the middle of the pod. Right, we'll move on from Ashwin and that whole debate about the spinner and whether Veersamy Permaul should even be allowed to bowl. Um, Rishabh Pant went after
Hello.
Jack Leach again.
Hello. Hello,
And
hello. You guys, you're laughing, right? Let me show you this thing. Let me show you guys this thing, all right? Who's that?
I go.
All right? You leave Versami for ball alone, okay?
I mean, out of all of the names on that list, he picks Veersamy Permaul.
I mean, I saw Martin Guptill's name there,
Yeah,
but
I know. There's Babar
Veersamy
Azam on that, and he's picking Veersamy Permaul.
It was just a coincidence.
Completely brilliant. Completely brilliant. Love having a West Indian on the pod. Um, yeah. So okay. So, Pant going after Jack Leach, that was a no-brainer. That stumping that.
But to be fair, Jack Leach has come back against Pant, I think, a bit. It's not like the
He got him
first
out.
test where he was going, yeah. But also, like he's just kept him a little quiet. First test, he was going at 9 over at one point when Pant was batting.
Yeah, but that's because of
This
the pitch.
test, also true.
Yeah.
Also true.
But I think the best bit of this whole thing was Moeen Ali coming back out of nowhere, plays one test match, gets 8
God.
wickets, get hammered, and then decides that he's going home.
Listen, I'm
Oh,
gonna be a
sorry,
little.
sorry. He almost scored the
I'm gonna be a
fastest 50 in the history of Test cricket also today.
Okay, so I'm going to be a little serious here on when it comes to Moeen Ali. I know we've bashed him as a spinner in India. He hasn't. He's taken his wickets, but the Indian batsmen also have taken a liking to him, and he's not been like stellar. I get that, but I also feel like Moeen Ali's just been really hard done by England quite often throughout his career. He has his weaknesses. He can be too loose as a spinner. He obviously has a short ball weakness as a batsman, but at the same time, I feel like there's no reason here where first of all, he's going back because he was supposed to be going back after 2 tests anyway. That was a pre-agreed thing. The way they've been rotating, Joss Butler, Johnny Best, so like everyone's had that rotation. Moeen Ali also had this pre-agreed rotation. He's gone back. At the very last minute, this is a guy who's just like everyone else has been as part of this whole bubble for the last 2.5 months or however long it's been. In the midst of that bubble, he's also gotten COVID and spent 2 weeks in isolation when everyone else got to train and whatnot. And then when he's supposed to, and he's probably going to be picked in the IPL by some team or the other, which means if he doesn't go home now, he'll be in a bubble straight for 5 months until the end of May, and not go home, which would be unfair on most cricketers, and a lot of people haven't done that. And it's not like he chose to go home because they only asked him at the very last minute to stay. Otherwise, he was supposed to go home anyway. So this idea, this framing that he's chosen to go home, he's sort of leaving the team after 1 test. He wasn't supposed to be here past this test to begin with. It's just that for some reason he's getting a little more stick than other people in similar situations have.
How do you rate his batting? How do you rate Moeen Ali's batting?
Listen, in India, he's a really good batsman. He has a great record in India. The last time around, he had two centuries and I think 250s or 150, something like that. He was probably one of the more consistent batsmen they had in that tour. You send him to someplace like Australia, he's gonna get screwed because he can't play the short ball well, and that's like, all right, he's not meant to be batting at 3 or whatever in Australia. But his batting here was fine.
Perfect. Now, with that being said, right, I just got another comparison for you guys, and just would like to, get your take on it. Moeen Ali, nice off spinner primarily. You'd say he's a batsman primarily, while West Indies has Ross and Chase. What would you say? That was one of our house names, Ross and Pace. Anyway,
Ross
yeah.
and Pace, yeah.
What would you say? In terms of comparison, who would you say is the better of the two?
I would actually say Chase is the better batsman, but Moeen Ali is definitely the better bowler.
I would have said the exact same thing. I think Ross and Chase is the better batsman for sure.
By a long way.
Fair enough.
And the thing is, I think the West Indies, I think it's because of the scheduling as well that the West Indies don't play as much Test cricket as India or England. England, I think, play the most Test cricket out of anybody anyway.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And you tend to see Moeen Ali a lot more than Chase. But I think if you're basing it on pure ability, I think Chase is a much better batsman. and he's a bit more consistent as an off spinner than Ali is. That's the other thing. But Ali is obviously more skilled.
Yeah. Roshan Chase doesn't, I don't think, has the magic ball the way Moeen Ali does.
Yeah.
But he will, but he also just doesn't bowl a lot of loose deliveries, whereas Moeen Ali does it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would tend to agree with that. I think that's a sort of very accurate kind of description.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
We're also looking at, okay, so now this is the other thing with the series is England have decided that they're going to make wholesale changes. India had a problem with the combination in the last game because they wanted that left arm spinner who could bat a bit. And with Akshar not being there, they had to play Washington Sundar to sort of firm up the batting. So I think the Indians are pretty much more or less set, unless they get a bit of a seaming wicket in Ahmedabad with the pink ball under lights, which obviously then changes your thinking and you play one more seamer. So Bumrah comes back in, I would assume, if that is the case.
Yeah, I think Bumrah was deliberately rested from this match with Ahmedabad in mind, which, by the way, was a really gutsy call. I think because everyone could have. It was a smart call. It makes sense. But also when you're 1-0 down in the series and you know you have to win a match, to leave out your strike bowler planning ahead and saying, you know what, we're going to win this match with our spinners anyway, so we don't need to risk Bumrah. It was a smart call, but it was a really gutsy call.
Definitely.
Credit to the Indian team there.
I mean, I agree it's a gutsy call, but I think the thing is that on a wicket like that, where fast bowlers did pretty much practically next to nothing. I mean, Stuart Broad was running in with Ben Folk standing up to the stumps. So, I mean, like
that's like how they do it for you all the time, Sid.
They've not done that. You know what? That has not happened to me in the longest time.
Yeah, right.
It used to happen very often, but it hasn't happened to me for over 2 years.
You played cricket in 2 years?
Yeah, I did. My last
Are you
season.
sure?
Yeah, my last season was 2019-20. I haven't played since April of last year. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So when you say over 2 years, one of those years is a COVID-induced no cricket year. Let's keep that in mind.
No, hang on. We finished last season. I only haven't played this 2020-21 season.
Yeah, but that was a year ago.
So in over 2 years, no? So 2 saal pehle.
Let's go back to Stuart Broad, please.
So I mean, okay, yeah, and Siraj being there it's a pretty easy fit because he's a really good bowler in those conditions. And if there was a bit of reverse swing, he would have been the one to find it. I think more than Ishant Sharma.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It helps that you have a good backup bowler in Siraj to come in, so that leaving Bumrah out you don't feel like you're losing out that much.
But do you think England were right in leaving Anderson out?
Nah, I would have. I mean, long-term planning, maybe over the series it bears out as a good decision, but like on this pitch, I think Anderson would have been a handful.
And especially considering the fact that neither Anderson nor Broad are playing the one-days. Remember that. So they will go home immediately after the tests are done.
Yeah, I agree. You're not there in the one-days and stuff. Your time limited to just the test matches. You know, I would like to think the players, raring to go, and you have a test match to play, an opportunity to play as much as, you're going to get rested and stuff, but it would have been nice to put in the best performance in this second test. If you had won this one and go 2 up, that would have been amazing, So I would have played Jimmy Anderson for this test also, but they went the other way around. Didn't work out too well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, I think they lost the game not just with the bowling, but the batting was just gone.
No, I mean, you can't expect to win a game when you make 130 and 160 in 2 innings. I mean, that's like, we made more than that. Rohit Sharma himself made more than that in 1 inning. I mean, their total doesn't even combine to Sharma and Ashwin's together. So, like, it's a bit. You're not going to win a game there. When you've not made a single 50 in the game.
So what was the biggest difference between test match number 1 and 2 that you guys would say in terms of such drastic changes?
The pitch.
The pitch was one, I think, but I also feel like India bowled a lot better this time around, and Akshay Patel had a lot to do with that. I think there was just a lot more control, and England bowled a lot worse. The spinners, Jack Leach was pretty good the second day and in the second innings, but like they just didn't have any control the first day, and they let India get away.
But I still feel that that's the one problem that they're going to have in this series is that their spinners are not going to give you as much control as the Indian spinners are. And
Yeah.
it's exactly that, because it came down to Nadeem and Washington Sundar not being able to give you the kind of control that Akshar Patel did in this test match in the first test. And that's why England could score 500 and whatever. And, whereas England obviously got the better of the conditions in that second test as well. Bear in mind, we didn't bat very well in the first innings of that first test match.
Yeah.
Do
We
you
were
think-
about a. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Do you think if the toss went the other way, it would have been a big difference in how the game panned out?
I think England would have gotten closer. I still don't think they would have won.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the toss was a bigger deal in the first match. In this
Yeah.
match, I think even if India hadn't won the toss, they probably would have won the match
Because
because they would have just bat.
yeah,
They
'cause,
would
I
have-
mean, there was help from the first morning itself for the spinners. So
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
yeah,
It's gonna be a
Um,
nice third test and series lined up nicely.
yeah, the series is lined up nicely. So a few changes, obviously. Number one, this is the interesting bit. Now England have a lot of things coming up. So Jofra Archer is supposed to be fit for the game in Ahmedabad. So will he come in over Ollie Stone? Jury's out on that
I
one.
think he will. I think he will
Yeah.
probably.
To be fair, Stone
I
was pretty
think-
good in this game.
He was, but
Yeah.
I think if you can only pick one of them, you definitely pick Archer. I don't think there's a question there.
James Anderson walks into the test team. I think Broad was completely ineffective in Chennai.
Yeah.
Um,
It's probably
Yeah,
if it's a pink ball test, you probably pick three seamers. Now the question is, Ben Stokes didn't bowl, so I mean he bowled like 2 overs in the first innings and didn't bowl at all in the second innings, if I remember correctly. So whether he's too injured he's got an injury that's preventing him from bowling, and if that's fucking up England's combination, or like they're kind of being really guarded about his fitness when it comes to bowling.
If I'm not wrong, I saw him doing some handstands on the field the other day. You guys saw that?
yeah, we saw that. That's
He
a
was
bit
fit enough for
ridiculous.
that.
I don't
Not
know.
fit enough to
Yeah.
bowl.
I mean, he's fit enough to do that. He should be fit enough to bowl. No?
Yeah.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a decent amount of a gap. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Next test isn't for another week, so people can recover from whatever niggles they have.
But they're again going into a bio bubble, so that's going to have another impact because they'll have that whole changeover, and
Yeah.
I think the gap is there between tests. Okay, so first thing, obviously, it's pink ball. It's under light, so there will be some movement for the fast bowlers. That's one thing. Johnny Bairstow comes back in for the test match. Remember that?
Yeah, he's back in the squad. Who would he replace? I think
Lawrence.
Ben Foakes is the.
No,
I think Ben Foakes is the keeper for sure. So
I think he comes in for Dan Lawrence and plays as a batsman. I think that's a no-brainer. I think he's looked a bit out of his depth, Lawrence.
England really rate Dan Lawrence as one of their best players of spin, and he was kind of all at sea in this match.
It's like Pant said, no, Bhagwan ke naam pe kooda hai. For Ian, let's translate that. It means he's jumping out by saying the Lord's name.
Some of the sledging has been too good, dude.
Yeah, the good thing about the sledging is they haven't used there's no swear words.
Yeah. fair
Yeah,
enough.
I mean, there is
That's when it's nice and fun, like.
Yeah.
there is a way to sledge without being a dick. It's just that Australians have never learned how to do it.
Exactly.
Arey, it's still not complete, yeah. We still have to go back to the Gabba Ash.
Oh my god, I have to tell, I don't know if you guys saw this, but there are actually t-shirts now for that.
Oh, we should
I
get
think
these. We have to do a pod with this now. I'll mail you one to Guyana as well.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna- when I put this blog up, or when we edit this video, I think we should put a picture of that t-shirt in, and if people want to buy it, they can. It's not, we haven't made it, so we're not promoting anything or whatever. But
Also, whoever's made that t-shirt, our interests are for sale, so you can get a plug very easily. No, so India will probably make just the one change.
Looking for sponsorship from the jersey company, from the lemonade company, from the water company.
listen, we'll take
are
sponsorship wherever we can get it.
We are desperate. We are desperate.
We aren't desperate. We are for sale. It's capitalism at its finest. So we'll just round up really quickly. Um,
Oh,
Changes for
gosh.
the next test. Do you think England are going to go Bairstow over Lawrence? I think so, because I think Lawrence is
I
going to
think
be
so.
out of his depth.
I think so. I think so. I
Christopher
also think
Lawrence,
I think
Joffre.
I
Yeah,
think
go
Zach
ahead.
Crawley comes in for Rory Burns. By the way, I feel like Rory Burns just like he's just not cutting it as an opener at the moment for them
I mean,
in
he's
the
had
series.
one bum test, so I think you can cut him some slack. Maybe you take a call after the next one. Um, that's.
You could cut him some slack and cut his hair also.
I was about to say, cut his hair. He looks like a pirate. Rory Burns. Arr.
Yeah. If Zach Raleigh is fit, he definitely should come back.
Yeah.
Joffre should definitely come back.
And James
Should
Anderson,
be
definitely.
good though. It should be good. It should be good. Should be
I
a
think
good third test.
I think it'll be a bit more friendly to the seamers because that'll really make it interesting.
Yeah, and I find it interesting. What I think team selection there will also be interesting. Maybe they play Anderson and Broad together, and just basically Anderson comes in for Moeen Ali then, and they play three seamers.
What about Dom Bess?
I think they just rely on Jack Leach.
They
as the
just
second.
rely on. Oh, interesting.
It's a possibility. I don't know. Listen, we've not really seen how good a spinning ball the ping ball is, so it's like this is completely up in the air.
Yeah,
Maybe they
this
still
is true.
Yeah, maybe they still go with two spinners, or maybe they don't. I feel like right now, I think from England's point of view, I would go with Anderson, Broad, Archer, and Leach as my bowling attack. You have Stokes in support.
Stokes and Joey Root to throw over his arm. Yeah, I agree. I definitely go with those three pacers and Leach, and then Stokes if he's fit to bowl, and Joe Root to spin a few.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, it could work
with the pink ball, and those guys. I think yeah, that would be good.
For India, I would say only one change. It's harsh, but Kuldeep will miss out if they have to.
I think Bumrah comes. I think Bumrah just comes in.
Yeah, that seems fair enough. Yeah,
and yeah, I mean those are going to be the changes. It's going to be a really fun test. I can sense that, and it's going to be pink ball under lights. It always.
What time does that start in your time?
So that starts 1:30 p.m. India time.
Okay, perfect.
So the other thing is, how much of a factor will dew play in that?
Ahmedabad in
February, remember?
Yeah, it's February actually. That's the point.
Yeah. So it could get very interesting.
Maybe Aditya might fly over, give us a live, on the ground sort of.
We need Niket to do his job properly. He needs to go. His Chennai tips are not good. Now we need him to get to Ahmedabad and give us a proper pitch, like inside info.
Do you slate him? He's going to be on our pod next week. Just a reminder for all of you viewers, there's an IPL auction special coming up next week. We're going to do this is the first time we're ever going to do a podcast with 4 people. And it's going to be completely raucous, just like an IPL auction is. Lots of fun things about the IPL auction. Very important players, including Steve Smith, Glenn Maxwell, Harbhajan Singh, and Arjun Tendulkar.
Don't forget Moeen Ali.
Oh, and Moeen Ali, of course. So that's going to be next week. The other thing that we've missed is there was a T20I series between Pakistan and South Africa, which ended with Pakistan winning 2-1. The last game was really exciting, actually. Went down to the last ball. But they couldn't. South Africa, of course, they've been so incompetent at so many things over the last year. They couldn't score 6 off the last ball to win that.
One
six
quick
off the
thing.
last ball.
One quick thing in terms of the upcoming auction, how do you get disqualified sort of from it? I mean, kind of disappointed that Shrikant didn't make the cut,
No. Shrikant got 1 minute. The last time Shrikant played in an IPL game, we all know what happened. So let's not go down that road again.
Do we know?
Yeah, he bowled 2 no balls and he got banned for 7 years.
I think Srishant needs his own like
There
Amazon
you go.
series.
Shrikant should be the face of No Balls podcast, dude. You heard that, Mr. Shrikant? You just want yourself the face of No Balls podcast. Insert Shrikant here.
Speaking of, we had 2 awards last week. Do we have any this week?
I don't think so. Suddenly all the no balls disappeared.
Yeah, by the way, the Indian first innings was the highest score ever made without an extra being conceded.
Yeah. Saw that. That was pretty good.
Yeah, fun fact.
Fun
All
fact.
thanks to Ben Folks, honestly.
All thanks to Ben
That's
Stokes.
why that's why everyone loved him.
On that very fun fact, it is time to end. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week with an auction special, and be back the week after the third test. Thanks, Ian, for
Thanks,
joining
guys.
us.
Good to
Cheers.
have Ian on, man.
Cheers. It was fun. A lot of fun.